Hello, everybody, and welcome to Red Wings Daily, presented to you by Fan Arch. I'm your host, Kirk MckNight, author of The Voices of Hockey, Broadcasters Reflect on the Fastest Game on Earth, and coming to you from the Pacific Northwest, 2,454 miles from Little Caesars Arena. Now, speaking of the dojo, the Red Wings bid farewell to Little Caesars Arena last night following their victory over the Boston Bruins, and they'll be on the road for the next 6 games, starting against Columbus tomorrow night. Going back to last night's win over the Bruins, it was the first time in 5 games that the Red Wings walked away from a game with 2 points. They actually got 1 point Saturday night in Boston to end their pointless streak and their 3-game regulation losing streak, but still had a 4-game losing streak going into last night. The Red Wings, as a result of their win and Boston's 0 points, came into a virtual tie with Boston for third place in the Atlantic Division. The Red Wings have a game in hand as opposed to the Bruins, but Ottawa won as well against Montreal. So the Red Wings leapfrogged Montreal because Montreal got 0 points in their regulation loss. Red Wings got 2 points, and Ottawa is still a point up, at least on the Red Wings. So, tied for third. Going from being in 5th place to tied for third in just a 2-game swing, definitely something to not walk away with, with your head hung low. Last night in the game, talking a little bit about the matchup against the Bruins, the Red Wings were 1 for 3 on the power play, and they were 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. They were outshot 38-32, and they were out-hit 27-18. They did win 51.7% of the faceoffs. Now, some of the things to really take away from yesterday's game is what I would like to point out as a stat that I would like to lobby for being an unofficial stat. We're going to talk about an unofficial stat in the Gordy Howe hat trick when we talk about Cider and how he had a Gordy Howe hat trick last night. But another unofficial stat that I'd like to see splayed out on the stat sheet is the third assist. Now, when I say third assist, it's going back before whatever sets up the goal, the power play goal, to the player who actually creates the penalty against the other team. Now, last night, the Red Wings scored on a power play. That power play was made possible by Van Riemsdyk drawing a penalty against Lindholm of the Bruins. So, Lindholm goes in the penalty box. The pass goes from Kane to Cider to Raymond. So Kane and Cider obviously are both on the assist. Another 2 points for Kane, by the way, 2 points closer to Madonna. But still, I feel like maybe if you're not going to give him a half or even a third of a point or anything, let's give the third assist to somebody like Van Riemsdyk, because not only did he score a goal last night, but he actually earned that third assist by drawing that penalty, and the Red Wings were able to extend their lead in the situation. Now, going back to, like I had mentioned, Cider had the Gordy Howe hat trick by picking a fight. He actually scored a goal and had 2 assists. So there you go with the Gordy Howe hat trick. But instead of going after Kastelik like he did on Saturday, he went after another big guy for Boston in Zadorov. Now, Kastelik and Zadorov both got 10-minute misconduct penalties. And all this, to me, is so surprising because those two are the ones with the 10-minute misconduct. But the person who started this all was Jeannot on Saturday when he boarded Sandy in front of the Red Wings bench. That's what got Cider so pissed off and went after Kastelik and started the fight that really kind of lit the fire under the Red Wings' butts. So after all that, I didn't see a single penalty minute assessed to Jeannot last night. He was nowhere to be seen as far as the scrum. The scrum is something we'll talk about a little later in the no-cap recap, but it is very interesting sometimes how one person starts the conflict, but the rest of them take care of it. They take care of things in-house. Mo is one of the ones that we're looking at as taking care of it, and he took care of it not only on the offensive side, but like on the, mind game side and on the defensive side, which he's best known for playing. So, it being Wednesday and what we would call hump day in the workforce, here comes this week's segment, Over the Hump. and that is with a questioning tone, because what I would try to do each time we go to Over the Hump is see if there is a situation in which the Red Wings have been a little exploited in the past, and to see if they've improved upon it. Now, one of the things that the Red Wings were made themselves very vulnerable with was the fact that they would just let so many goals in succession against them and kind of take them out of it. Now, the Red Wings last night scored the first three of the game. We're off 3-0 in the second period, but Boston clawed back a little bit with 2 straight. So it gets into their heads a little bit. And Mickey Redmond on the cast said, they're one shot away from tying this game, and very much true. So obviously something cause for concern. Are we going to let this lead completely slip away? No, they didn't. They scored another 2 straight. Now, granted, Boston scored another 2 straight after that to bring it within a shot of being a tie game once again. Luckily for the Red Wings, that fourth goal happened with 11 seconds left in regulation, and they were able to keep the puck out of the way enough for the clock to run out. So whether or not they're over the hump, as opposed, with respect to these quick action goals, is another story. The fact that they were able to start off 3-0, to me, in and of itself, and get some offense, gets them over at least one of the humps. So definitely something to draw upon and take with us in our satchel as we prepare for that 6-game road trip. So getting the win obviously was a big thing. That in and of itself was yet another hump. They hadn't won a game in regulation or in overtime since they beat the Blue Jackets at home, 9 or 10 days ago. So there's the hump right there. So yes, they did get over a couple of the humps, but not quite all of them. Now, going back to the win, that was John Gibson's first win since October 28th. The goaltender had gone 7 games. He had gone 0-5-1 over 7 starts. Now, 0-5-1, that equals 6 starts. So where is the math going wrong here? I'll tell you where the math's going wrong. Gibson started the home win against Anaheim back in mid-November, but he did not finish the game. Talbs finished the game for him. He actually only played the first 2 periods. So, yes, it was the first time in 7 starts that Gibby came away with a win. Now, he's got 208 wins in his career, and like Talbs, he's in his 13th season. But unlike Talbs, he's not the journeyman kind of goaltender that Talbs is. This is only his second team. He spent most of his career, the first 12 seasons of his career in Anaheim. Not against the Red Wings, obviously, because the Wings have been about I think this is their 13th season post-Western Conference days. So really, Gibson hasn't been a factor for the Red Wings except for 2 games out of every year for the last 12 seasons. But, 208 wins. He's under 500 for his career. He's under 500 for the season as well. Even with the win, he's 5-7-1 on the season. So the Jennings trophy-winning goaltender still has a little bit of work to do. I'm sure he's kept the Wings in a lot of these games, even the games that they've lost. He's kept them close. He's made some great saves, not to try to knock them in any way. Just hoping for when you see that Talbs has the record he does, and Gibby is 5-7-1. They're pretty much splitting the duties pretty evenly. The scale is not tipping too much in favor of one or the other. They're pretty much down the line almost as far as who starts and who doesn't. So obviously we want to have some positive mojo going for Gibby, because he's probably going to have to come up in 2, maybe even 3 games on this road trip for the Red Wings. So it's good for him to get it out of his head that he hasn't won in about 5 or 6 weeks, and moving forward, hopefully there's not going to be that long of a stretch between now and the next win. Now, folks, we've come to my favorite part of the program, the No Cap Recap. And once again, as almost every time, I'm going to take a quote from McClellan. Now, if you aren't familiar with the No Cap Recap, what I'll do is I'll take a post-game press conference moment, and I'll throw it through the AI slang translator. I'll read it to you the way it was spoken from the mouths of either the player, a broadcaster, or in most cases, Todd McClellan. But after I do that, I show you what AI slang translator does and basically speak to you in a language that some of the younger generations might be a little bit more familiar with. So McClellan, following last night's game, said, "Our start was better. We got to a real good goaltender. Obviously, he didn't finish the night. I thought we were really good, real solid, all over the rink, and then momentum changed a little bit when we got involved in the scrum. They got on the power play, and they got feeling good about themselves again, and the first goal from distance, all of a sudden, they're back in it. I thought the goal at the end of the second period, the Sherratt goal, was real important for us. Settle us back down. Went back out on the power play, and again, we do some things. The scrum to take it to 4-on-4 again. We don't need that. We're in control of the game. And that, again, for me, is game management. Understanding situations. We're learning. At least we got the win tonight as we learned lessons." Now throw that into the AI translator. "Yo, our start was way better. We snagged a sick goalie. Avi, he didn't finish the night though. I thought we were straight up fire, rock solid all over the ice. But then the vibe shifted a bit when we got caught up in that scrum. They got a power play and started feeling themselves again. And then that long shot goal out of nowhere, and they were back in the mix. That shot at the end of the second, that Sherratt goal, was clutch for us. It chilled us out, you know. Then we're back on the power play and we pull some dumb stuff. That scrum to make it 4-on-4 again, we don't need that BS. We're running the game, and that's just game management, my dudes. Knowing the situation. We're still learning, though. At least we snagged the W tonight while learning mad lessons." Now, here's to hoping that the Red Wings have learned some mad lessons as they're about to take on a Columbus Blue Jackets team. Once again, Werenski, solid defenseman. We may see another defensive battle between Cider and Werenski, and hoping that the Red Wings can start off the road trip with a little bit more momentum going into them, because they're going to swing from Columbus all the way to my area in the Pacific Northwest and taking on the Seattle Kraken this Saturday. I'll be there at the game with bells on because it is closer to Christmas, but that's another story in and of itself. But folks, it's been Red Wings Daily here, presented to you by Fan Arch. Again, I'm your host, Kirk MckNight. Go check out The Voices of Hockey. It's available on Audible. It's available on Apple Books. Brand new edition. Go check it out. But as I like to always say, LGRW from the PNW. Go Red Wings.